Okay, as we are going through the whole Bible, we're getting to the end of an era. We're getting to the end of a period in the Bible, which will begin a whole new period, whole new era, whole new epoch. So, what's going on? Well, we said we went through the first 5 books of the Bible, the law. And there God was king, and there God delivered his people out of Egypt and made them a people, and he was their king. Then we moved to the 12 books of history. And with the 12 books of history, God brought them into the land, 11-day journey, took them 40 years, but he settles them into the land with Joshua. The book of Judges, they try to get their feet on the ground, they keep messing up. First and Second Samuel, they asked for a king, and now they're just like everybody else. They've got a king. They have forsaken God as their king, and they now are going to be ruled by kings, and they're going to have a civil war, and they're going to go through a series of kings, and the nation is going to go into a slow downward decline. It will eventually be destroyed. It will eventually be overtaken by enemies. The amazing thing is it will be taken over by enemies worse than themselves, morally and spiritually. God is going to judge the land, the civil war. He judges the north first, the north falls, and the south falls later. And it's a long, painful slide and a long, painful loss going into the destruction of Jerusalem in the south when the Babylonians take it over. Jeremiah, of course, he's prophesying the whole time that this is happening. And he's telling them what's going on, and he's telling them to prepare for what's going to happen. And then in those amazing chapters that we had read, chapter 25 and chapter 29, Jeremiah said it was going to last for 70 years, and it happened exactly that way. 70 years that they were in captivity, and 70 years later they came out. What a miraculous prophecy from Jeremiah. But they were going to go into captivity, and they go into captivity in Babylon, and that becomes a whole new part of their history. They go in because of their idolatry. They're going to come out. They'll never be idolaters again. But we're going to end by just reading chapter 52 of Jeremiah, and then we will do one more prophecy. It's not really a prophecy. I think it should be in the book of poetry, personally, the book of Lamentations, which we will do in the next session, also written by Jeremiah, as he writes about the fall of Jerusalem. But here we are, the historical aspect of it. Jeremiah writes about the emotional aspect of Jerusalem falling. Can you imagine being invaded? Everything that you've known, everything that your ancestors have known, everything that's been built, everything that exists, they're just going to come and plow it all under. Chapter 2, Jeremiah, last chapter of Jeremiah. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he became king. He reigned in Jerusalem 11 years, this Zedekiah. His mother was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah. She was from Libnah. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord, just as Jehoiakim had done. Well, this is the king in the south. The king in the south, they're supposed to be doing better. And in the book of Chronicles, when we go through that, we see that most of them do better, but obviously not all. And so here's 11 years of really bad, really evil, idolatrous administration. It was because of the Lord's anger that all this happened to Jerusalem and Judah. And in the end, he thrust them from his presence. Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylon. He thought, I can stand against this king of Babylon. Well, Babylon's a pretty strong kingdom at this point. Plus, God's against you. So you can stand against a pretty strong kingdom if God is with you, but God's against him. 9th year of Zedekiah's reign. Remember, he reigned 11 years. On the 10th day of the 10th month, Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, marched against Jerusalem with his whole army. They encamped outside the city. They built siege works all around it. One of the ways that they would do battle is they would build these ramps, these siege ramps. They're going to go up the wall. The city was kept under siege until the 11th year of King Zedekiah. They were in there for a couple of years. Babylonians are outside. By the 9th day of the 4th month, the famine in the city had become so severe, there was no food for the people to eat. The city wall was broken through, and the whole army fled. They left the city at night through the gate between the two walls near the king's garden. Though the Babylonians were surrounding the city, they're fleeing and trying to get out of there. Babylonians are surrounding. They fled toward Arabah, but the Babylonian army pursued. King Zedekiah overtook him in the plains of Jericho. All his soldiers were separated from him, and he scattered, and he was captured. There you go. The end of a nation, the fall of a nation. He was taken to the king of Babylon at Riblah in the land of Hamath, where he pronounced sentence on him. There at Riblah, the king of Babylon killed the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes. What a horrible thing. Your son's getting killed before your eyes. He also killed all of his officials. Doesn't say before his eyes, but I'm sure it was. And then he put out Zedekiah's eyes. Wow, and bound him with bronze shackles. He took him to Babylon, and he put him in prison, and there he stayed till the day of his death. What a way for the last king to die. You know, put it in your own context, put it in president. What a way for the last president to die. Eyes gouged out in prison till the day of his death. On the 10th day of the fifth month, in the 19th year of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, Nebuzaradan, the commander of the imperial guard who served Babylon, he came to Jerusalem. He set fire to the temple. There it goes. The royal palace and all the houses of Jerusalem. Every important building he burned. All of this centuries of building and centuries of living. The whole Babylonian army under the commander of the imperial guard broke down the walls of Jerusalem. The commander of the guard carried away into exile some of the poorest people and those who remained in the city, along with the rest of the craftsmen and all of those who had deserted to the king of Babylon. Well, some people had already left, and they went to the king of Babylon thinking it would be better for them. But Nebuchadnezzar left behind the rest of the poorest people in the land to work the vineyards and the fields. Left people there. Took a lot of important people, and we'll see some of that when we get into the prophet Daniel. The Babylonians broke the bronze pillars, the movable stands, the bronze sea, everything that was in the temple of the Lord, and they carried the bronze to Babylon. They took away the pots, the shovels, the wick trimmers, the sprinkling bowls, the dishes, the bronze articles. They didn't take the ark. Where's the ark? Who knows where the ark is? Keep that in mind. They didn't take the Ark of the Covenant. What happened to it? Certainly they would have taken it with all the gold. The commander of the imperial guard took the basins, the censers, the sprinkling pots, all that were made of pure gold and silver. The bronze from the pillars, the 12 bronze bowls under it, the movable stands, which Solomon had made for the temple of the Lord. Tells how big each of these were, tells what they were worth. The commander of the guard took the prisoners. He took Seraiah, the chief priest, he takes. Zephaniah, the priest in the next rank, and the doorkeepers. Taking all the worship leaders. Of those still in the city, took the offer in charge of the fighting men and the 7 royal advisors, all the military leaders. Taking the religious leaders, taking the military leaders. Took the secretary who was chief officer in charge of conscripting people in the land, 60 of whom were found in the city. Get rid of all the city officials. Get rid of all these people. Let's bring them to Babylon. Nebuzaradan, the commander, took them all, and he brought them to the king of Babylon at Riblah. There at Riblah, in the land of Hamath, the king had them executed. Getting rid of all the higher echelon, all the upper leadership. So Judah went into captivity away from her land, and here's the number of people he carried away. 7th year, 3,000 Jews. Nebuchadnezzar's 18 years, 832 people from Jerusalem. In 20th year, 745 Jews taken into exile by the commander. There were another 45 people in all, 4,500 people in all. In the 37th year of the exile of Joachim, king of Judah, the king Awel Marduk became king of Babylon on the 25th day. And he released Jehoiakim from the king of Judah, and he freed him from prison. And he spoke kindly to him. He gave him a seat of honor, and he sat there, gave back his prison clothes and ate regularly at the king's table. Day by day, the king of Babylon gave Jehoiachin a regular allowance as long as he lived till the day of his death. It's the end of Jerusalem. It's the end of the northern kingdom, the 10 tribes. They went earlier, Assyrian invasion. Now Babylon has invaded the south, taken them all away. They're in exile. Place is a mess. Temples burnt. All the important buildings are burnt. All the officials are dead. A bunch of people have been exiled into Babylon. There we leave it. We'll pick it up again. There we leave it.